Well, that's it.
Oh,
If you're still with us, then
yeah.
I don't know how, but here we go. So,
I don't
movie
know
number
how.
two. So, movie number two, we watched. Let's talk about Uncut Gems.
Uncut
Yep.
Gems.
Let's talk about
Yeah.
Uncut Gems.
So I knew absolutely nothing about it. I did not know what to expect, especially when it opens, in that Ethiopian mine and that dude's leg is just completely shattered. Like, I knew I was about to watch something, heavy for sure, just with that opening sequence. Um, I've only seen it the one time. There is definitely some serious symbolism throughout the film to the point where, kind of opens and closes with, uh, and, again, spoilers. It opens with, you're kind of going into the gem and you're seeing the gem's insides. And then it closes with us going through the bullet hole
Yeah.
into the, so, I mean, there's some symbolism there, like the opal representing somehow Howard's character, Howard's, you know, life, I guess. But yeah, well, let's talk about it.
Yeah, this
Um,
movie had a lot of media from Adam Sandler himself coming into it. He was talking, I don't know if you remember this, he was talking about how if he was going on social media or wherever saying if I don't win an Oscar for this movie, then it's rigged. And it's Adam
really,
Sandler, so I don't know if he's really being serious or if he's just kind of saying that to draw up attention.
right?
But for, like you said, from the opening scene, you are going to know that this is not your typical Adam Sandler movie. This is not Adam
Hmm.
Sandler, Rob Schneider, whoever joking around, goofing off. This is a very intense, very serious movie.
Which is funny because I love Adam Sandler as an actor. I really, really do. I think he's a phenomenal actor. And for the level of acting that he can deliver, I feel like he has always cut himself short with the movies that he's in. Um, I think some of his best roles are the ones where he's not playing a comedic person, and I think it's because correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe he started on SNL,
He probably
um,
did, yeah.
and so I feel like that's where it comes from. He kind of typecasted himself in the movies that he's in, but like, and people are probably going to hate me for this, but I don't like the Happy Gilmore movies. I'm just not a fan of that type of humor. Um, and I'm not saying that they're iconic in their own way. People reference, Grandma's Boy and Waterboy, and not Grandma's Boy, Waterboy. Um, and so, obviously there's, and all of those movies came out in a time where that gross out humor was big. You have Scary Movie, you have all those types of films. It was, I don't know what it was about the time, but that was very common. Um, and I think Adam Sandler's always tried to kind of push the limits with his films. But I think that besides this, one of his best films ever was Spanglish, and I don't know if you ever saw
It's
that.
a good one. I really
But
like 50 First
yeah,
Dates, which is kind of it's a
yeah,
blend.
yeah,
That one's a little
exactly.
bit of a blend.
It
It's a
is,
it's
but
a
it still
comedy, but
has
it's a
that.
rom-com. It's a
Yeah,
rom-com.
yeah, yeah. But it has
Yeah, it
heart.
does. It does.
There's more purpose to it than just the simple, like, I'm gonna make you
Right.
laugh. Um, and so seeing this movie, seeing him act for real, where he's delving into an actual character, somebody that's not just himself. I I I God, I don't even know, man. This movie, there's so much I could talk about. I was really, really rooting for him, for Howard, even though I didn't like him
Yeah,
at
how
all.
can you? How can you?
I Yeah, how do you like him? Yeah, and that's here's the thing. So, like, as far as writing wise, and sometimes I just write my thought process, but one of the first things I wrote is that the entire movie is about him, Howard, and he is selling items that he doesn't own to make money that isn't his. That's what the entire movie is
Yep,
about.
to just bet it, to go
Um,
bet money that isn't
yeah,
his, to then make more
yeah,
money
yeah.
that he has to give away.
And he's a character of pure vice, to the point where not only is he, I mean, is it cheating? Like, they're clearly they're getting a divorce, and he's with some other woman. They're not divorced yet. It's kind of weird. It's like this weird gray area, so you're not really sure how to feel about that. But I actually believe that him and that Howard and Julia love each other. There's that. Well, she loves him.
Yeah.
I think is what it feels like. And so I want him to just get out of this life, because I want him to be with her, because it's the only thing that he's got going for him. It's the only time he's showing
Yeah, and you see
emotion.
his kids.
But yeah, yeah, exactly. But his addiction to gambling and his addiction to being a con man and all that is to the point where it's almost sexual for him, where it's literally the only way that he gets off to anything. It's for him it is very much embedded in his system where like he needs to the point at the end of the movie where he can change it. He can just end everything that's happening to him, start a new life. He'll have several thousands of dollars that he can begin anew. All he had to do was finish making that call,
Yeah.
and he didn't, because he wanted to place that
Yep.
bet. And it ultimately, it led to his death. And I think that's
Yeah.
insane. That is the epitome of somebody's addiction to where it's literally affecting his life.
Yeah, that gamble is his
Um,
vice, and that's what he's doing. This is the whole purpose of this movie, basically, the dialogue, the cramped space in his store, the door that won't open. It's just to draw. It's to create anxiety. This movie creates
oh
so
yeah,
much anxiety, and man, this is not. Listen, uh, this is not Howard's life. That is not my life in any way. I was born, next to the woods. I played outside as a kid. This guy is in the concrete jungle doing shady deals for jewels. He's talking a mile a minute.
yeah,
He's got a million people who want money from him or are beating him up, and that's just his life. He's got, this big Jewish
yeah,
family that they're very close, and yet I don't know how the guy was related. Ardo,
yeah. I'm not sure
is
either.
while they're like dining together on a Saturday or Sunday night at a family gathering, then he's getting jumped by the guy and his thugs the next day, and they're throwing him in a car. I mean,
Yeah,
this movie generates so much anxiety. And the short description of this movie to me is that you're watching a shady jeweler argue with people and get taken advantage of for 2 hours, and then at the end he gets killed. I mean, if you want too long didn't read kind of synopsis of this, that's it. It's him
yeah,
arguing and getting
absolutely.
taken advantage of, and he's kind of in this weird circle. This movie had a lot of celebrity in it, particularly sports celebrity. But you see the weekend in
Kevin
this movie.
Garnett.
You see
Yeah,
Kevin Garnett, which as a basketball fan, Kevin Garnett has some chops, man. He can act.
yeah,
I thought he was
yeah. He
good.
can.
I actually really liked
Yeah,
Kevin Garnett in this,
absolutely.
and I thought when I saw the trailer for it, I saw Kevin Garnett in the trailer. We all did, and I thought, okay, he's just gonna make like a cameo, but he's a decent
No,
role in
he's
this
he's
movie. He has a lot of
he
dialogue.
is one of the biggest reasons that you are anxious the entire movie, because he won't give back the
Right?
damn
Where's that
gem.
fucking gem? Like, just give it back. But
Yeah, man.
it's a different world, man. It's a different world.
It was stressing me
There's
out.
so much risk involved in that life. There's so much risk. That is not my life, man. Like I've been to Manhattan a few
Yeah,
times on like a vacation, and it stresses me the hell out, dude. Like I want to sit on my,
yeah,
backyard or whatever and just listen to the birds or whatever it is. But man,
yep. Suburb
yeah,
life.
I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah.
a jeweler. I'm not a fucking Manhattan jeweler doing deals like that on the fly. It's not my personality. So this created a ton of anxiety. But
Yeah.
let's talk about Adam Sandler's character because that really is the focus of this movie. And he comes in saying if he
Hmm.
doesn't win an Oscar, it's a sham. And what did you think of his character, specifically his accent, kind of his ability to convince you that he was who he was?
Well, his accent wasn't like readily there. Um, his accent wasn't like a New York accent, but it was enough for me to feel like he was playing somebody else. The way he dressed, everything that he dressed in, like totally sold me as him being a completely different person. And again, just the fact that he was playing somebody that wasn't intentionally trying to make you laugh, um, was was totally selling me on his character. And I think Adam Sandler has this wonderful way of playing these characters that make you feel for him. Have you ever seen Click?
Yeah. Hmm.
Where, he's this dad that's completely
Right.
distracted, but you can tell that there's love there for his family, and he has this wonderful way of like, I don't know how to describe it, but he has this smile that he gives where, like, it's smile from here down, but from his nose up it's tension, where he just does this like, and it makes you feel for him because you see the emotion in both on both levels, on both sides of the spectrum, where he has love for his family, but I don't know, just seeing him beg for his wife's hand
Yep.
back, and then flip back and forth between him and the other girl. Like it's he's just a very toxic person, and somehow you still want him to just make that money because you're just hoping that this is the last time, that this is the last time he's going to make one of these deals. Um,
No, it's an addiction,
like
man.
one of
It's a
the
vice.
craziest moments, one of the craziest moments is when he finally gets Kevin Garnett back towards the end of the movie, like in the middle, and he can't open the damn door.
Oh,
I was so stressed out
yeah.
watching that. I was like, just somebody, please, just break the door. I, I, I mean,
Yeah, because you do
that
feel
was just
for him. You
intense.
do feel for him. I mean,
Yeah,
he clearly
yeah,
has
yeah, yeah.
addictions. He has these vices. Like you said, he's a character of vice. That's exactly right. That's who Howard is.
Hmm.
He's a character of vice. He's addicted to money and probably sex and just the whole thing,
Hmm.
the whole ride. But I know when you're waiting for him to get that jewel back, and he's trying to call the guy, and he's got an auctioneer who's waiting for the jewel to show up, and he doesn't have it, and it's like, oh, the poor guy is just getting beat down this whole movie. He's just
Yeah.
getting beaten down, and
Or when Kevin Garnett finally shows up and then he doesn't have his ring.
I know,
I was just
I
like,
know,
oh my God. I was like, oh, are you
I
kidding
know,
me?
yeah, and of course, it's yeah, he's just getting beat down over and over again, man. He can't catch a break, but he does it to himself. He does it to himself.
Yeah,
And that's
absolutely
the
he
world he
does.
lives in.
Yeah.
That's the thing. That's the world he lives in. He's
Hmm.
not, he kind of has a breakdown with gosh, now I can't remember. What was the name of, not Julia, but what was the name of the woman who he was having an affair with that worked at the store?
Yeah, yeah. So that was
Oh, that was
Julia.
Julia. I thought Julia was his wife.
Yeah, and then his wife's name was
That's right.
Darlene.
That's right. That's right.
I want to say it was Darlene.
Yep. Yeah, but he can't catch a break. He's breaking down to Julia and he's kind of crying, which I'm sorry, but that emotion and that whole scene, I just wasn't picking up on it. Like I
Yeah,
wasn't.
because they're toxic. They're just all toxic
Yeah,
people, and that's the thing.
yeah,
The entire movie is people you just don't
it's
like.
true. It's true, and they're all in
It's
this
there's not
game.
a single likable
Yeah, they're
character.
all in this game, and I'm sure there's people
Hmm.
living in Manhattan who are in that life, are deeply in that life. They're writing these movies based on something, and that's the game you're playing.
Hmm.
It's not, you don't just get to stop one day. You finally get a
Yeah,
big break, and there's relief, and then you're right back into it. You make another big bet, and it's
yeah, yeah.
it's never ending. It's a never ending thing. So yeah, he does it to himself, the creature of vice. But I don't know. I mean, Adam Sandler in this, look, he played a serious character. He came out, he played a serious character. Um, I always have a little bit of a problem, no matter who it is. I got a lot of problems with movies, man. I think I'm a little bit too pessimistic. I don't know what I need, but something. I have a problem whenever an actor or an actress tries to play a character that's supposed to have either a thick accent or a
Mm.
like speak another language, and the character is supposed to be native or fluent in that language, and the actor or actress is not. Like when
Hmm.
they have actor like Adam Sandler, for example, and they're trying to force this accent on him, it throws me off.
Yeah, yeah.
I can't get past it really. Um,
It's a lack of realism. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, or I'm trying to think some of the more recent ones. Like you have like Jennifer Lawrence doing The Sparrow or whatever that movie was a while ago, where she's like the Russian girl.
Hmm.
It's like seriously, there's
Yeah,
not a
yeah,
single Russian actress that you could have picked for that role. Like there had to have been.
yeah. You've mentioned this before
Yeah,
too.
I
Yeah,
just it
yeah.
bothers me, man. We're there's millions, I don't know about millions, but there's thousands of actors and actresses trying to make it. So most of them are probably phenomenal. I don't know if it's
Hmm.
just to get investment, if it's to we have these big names so that we can get investment to make our films.
Absolutely. It's the star
It
system.
is.
That's what it
It
is.
is.
It's
It's Brad Pitt playing the general in Inglorious Bastards. It's people playing roles that if you were just looking at the movie, if you didn't know who they were, I'll say, there's no way they would ever be in that role. There's just no way.
yeah.
And this one suffered from that a little bit. I thought I couldn't quite get past his accent, and I think that's probably a common thing. But the story was interesting. It was stressful. It's a
Hmm.
whole different world than what I'm from. Like I said, I was running around outside as a kid. I didn't even go to a big city like that until I was much older. This guy is in it. He's deeply in it. He's driving out in the middle of the night, meeting celebrities, doing deals with them. It's an interesting movie. It's pretty hectic, which is what they were going for. It's pretty hectic. I thought Adam Sandler
Oh
was
yeah.
a little forced. Um, but I will say at the end, when you're watching that basketball game and he's got this $1 million bet riding on it, I was pretty into it. I was on the edge of my
Oh yeah.
seat. I was ready for him.
Same, absolutely. Um, yeah, super chaotic. The cinematography, talking about chaos, there's a lot of close-ups. There's a lot of dark shots, which I think kind of symbolize that like nightlife or that double life, where there's some shots where you can't see what's going on at all. Um, and yeah, I mean, and to kind of like enhance that chaos, you have multiple scenes where they are just yelling at each other, where there's so many different things. Like he's talking to like three different people on the phone, and people are yelling at him. He's constantly yelling. I mean, he's very much always at the edge of a nervous breakdown, and I think that has a lot to do with the character choice. Um, but the movie kind of sets you up for that because the moment that the movie starts, it starts with yelling, with the miners just in chaos, and I think it kind of sets the tone for the rest of the film. Um, and the only thing that I feel like I didn't like very much was one, I didn't like the characters. And it's really hard to kind of root for these characters when not a single one was likable. Um, I didn't even really like the kids very much because they were barely in it. I felt bad for them, but I didn't necessarily care for them. Um, and I didn't like the music. I didn't like the score. It was this bizarre, like I don't even know, like acid jazz, like synth music. I don't know. I really don't know, but for whatever reason, it just didn't fit the tone of the movie. It didn't fit with what was going on.
I agree with that
Um,
100% because you know what? I'm just now thinking about it. When I was watching that movie, I kept thinking for a while I was watching something that was set in like the 90s. And then I
yeah, yeah.
realized at the end when they're like using Blade to basically Uber a helicopter and stuff, I'm like, wait a second, this is
Hmm.
present day. This is supposed to be
Wait, wait, wait. What? You can just call a
if
helicopter
you got
now?
enough money, apparently, because he says at the end, he's like, yeah, I'm gonna blade you a helicopter, and then the helicopter, it was like some
Okay,
branding, like some hidden branding in there.
but you knew
I
that?
think.
I
Let
see.
me
I
look
didn't
it
even know
up.
that was a
Let me look it
thing.
up. Blade.
I know Orlando has like
Oh, dude, I don't think it's here.
a lot of helicopters.
See if this is real. Yeah, Blade. Fly the future today. This podcast is brought to you by Blade.
Fly the future
Yeah, dude,
today.
I'm telling you,
That's
it's like an
amazing.
Uber but for helicopters. It's in big cities, and
Wow.
that's how people travel, man. It's listen, once you get up to the big dog league, you're not Ubering anymore, man. You're not taking taxis. Just
You just
blade me,
fly.
baby. Just blade me to the
Just
Mohegan
I'll
Sun.
call
I'll
you a
just make
Blade.
$1 million bet.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. I'm gonna blade myself somewhere today. I think I'm gonna blade to go get dinner.
Right.
Give me the
Yeah.
biggest helicopter you
Hey,
got.
I'll be over in a few hours. I'm just gonna
Yeah,
Blade
just
over to
park
you.
on the roof. Fuck it, just land it right on the roof, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I thought
Yeah.
that this movie, god damn, dude, this is Andrew Jackson's favorite podcast. There's no doubt about it. I thought, no, this movie, 100%, like you said, the things were, it was like we were watching a movie that was supposed to be set from an older time, but then they're blading to the Mohegan Sun and they're on iPhones and Kevin Garnett is in this thing. I don't know.
Hmm.
I was a little confused with the timing of the movie, where it was supposed to be
Yeah.
set, and I don't know if that's the cinematography or, like you said, the score. I don't know, man.
Yeah. I think it's a mixture of everything, but ultimately, what I didn't like most about the film was the lack of emotional dynamics in the film, because you're on the edge of your seat constantly in the movie. I don't feel like I got a single break from
You
it.
don't.
Um, I like seriously every single moment that you're watching the movie, there's something that has you tense because he's either trying to find out what happened to his apartment, or he's trying to avoid somebody, or he's trying to figure out what happened to his rock, whatever it is. But there's no plateau where you get a moment where like, okay, this is a good scene, this is a good moment where I can create an emotional connection and actually like the character for a moment. It's there was again you should have a rise and a low in your emotional levels, and for me my stress and anxiety were just through the roof the entire time. So
Yeah,
um
it was an intense movie, but sorry, Sandler, I'm not getting my Oscar vote, man. Not for this one. Not for this
yeah,
one.
yeah, no, I think his acting was great, but I think the writing just wasn't there 100%. But on a side note, A question I had for you: do you think he actually loved Julia? Because she mentions it over and over. She says throughout the film that she loves him, but the only time you hear him say it back is when he wins the money. And for me, it felt like he was saying "I love you" to the game, to the fact that he just
That's
won.
yeah,
You know, like he's reaching out, through the building when they're, the windows, and she says, I love you," and he just hands her the money, and then he goes back inside. He doesn't say it.
yeah. That's
Um,
not love, man. No way. Julia is. I mean, she's convenient, and she's, I guess, she's exciting, right? And that's his whole life. It's well, he was probably super excited. A character like that would be super excited about their wife when they were new, and then it's a deal. You know what I mean? You're constantly moving forward. You're constantly on to the next thing. Julia was the next thing, I think. She was convenient. She was
yeah,
there. She was, I think, younger than his wife, and she
yeah,
was,
and I think you're right because the moment she was inconvenient, he
yeah,
he kind of
right. He
tossed
stood
her to the
aside when
side,
it's more
and
convenient for him to try to step back with his family. He does, and then he's a scumbag, man. He's sleazy.
hmm
I
oh,
I don't think you're
absolutely,
supposed to like this character, even if you root for him. Look, even if you're rooting for this guy, you can feel bad for him without liking him. You know what I mean? Like you can feel bad for this guy, but still like he does it to himself. Everything in that movie is self-inflicted.
hmm
I thought the ending, oh man, not to jump ahead, but I thought the ending of that was so frustrating when he gets killed and his, Ardo, whoever, whatever
oh,
his relationship was to him, when he gets killed too, I'm like, man, all of that for nothing. And there's symbolism there, I'm
for a
sure,
bet.
dig into it, but
Oh yeah, 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 and I think, and I'm just making this connection here right now in front of you guys. I think that the symbolism there is that, in the same sense that he overvalued the price of the opal, he overvalued what money meant to the person in front of him, where he wasn't taking into account the fact that he not only paid basically half the price to make double the money for these Ethiopians, like, how do I explain it? He didn't value how his own actions were affecting the people around him, where he thought that all there was is the value of what's in front of him. So he valued more the opal than he did how he was affecting the miners, to the point where I I think it's kind of hinted, and maybe I'm wrong, that this guy broke his leg so that those guys could get into the mine and get that opal, or that somebody broke his leg so
yeah.
that they could do that. And so you have that, and then he overvalued, like he made these $1 million, and in his mind, hey, everything's cool. I fucked you over, but we can set that aside because I can give you your money. And I think the moment they're sitting in that thing, when he traps them in that box, you can see in their faces that guy has already decided the entire time that he's already going to kill him.
Yeah.
Like you can see it in his face when he's
And
watching
that
him.
guy's just a thug. You know what I mean? Most of the people in that movie are just
Yeah,
thugs. That's kind of what that
yeah.
is. Even Howard as a
But he
jeweler is
gives him
kind
the
of, yeah.
chance. He gives him the chance to he says, hey, just collect yourself after he hangs him out the window. Just make the call, get me the
Yep.
money, everything's cool. And he can't,
Yeah, people getting pushed
he
too
can't,
far, man. Well, this movie, it got a 92% critic score on Uncut Gems, Jesus, on Rotten Tomatoes, and it got a 52% audience score. So where do you rate this movie? Where do you come in at on this? What did you think?
um it's hard. It's hard for me because I didn't not enjoy the movie. That's a weird way to phrase that. I enjoyed the movie. Um I didn't like the characters. The cinematography was a little weird to me. It was, I don't know. It was dark. I think that some of the shots could have been done a little better. That's neither here nor there. It is what it is. That was the director's choice. But for some reason, there's something that stopped me from connecting with the film, and so I think I want to give it somewhere between a 6 and a 7. It's just there. It felt like a roller coaster that I just wanted to get through. That's kind of what it felt like. I just wanted to finish the movie because I wanted to see how it ended, but I didn't care about the characters, to the point where I kind of expected the ending to end the way it did.
Yeah, fair enough.
So I think I'm going to give it a 6.5 and meet in
All
the
right,
middle. The acting was phenomenal, though.
it's locked in, 6.5 from the critic himself. Um, yeah, this was an interesting movie. It I mean, it did get me heavily addicted into the gem trade. I have three salmon
Hmm.
arriving at my front door this afternoon. Inside of the belly of
Yeah,
one
yeah,
is a precious brown opal. Um,
yep. I've actually got a piece of amber with a mosquito in it that they
to
say
remake a dinosaur.
has
Yeah,
dinosaur
yeah,
DNA in it.
let's
So
do it.
we'll see.
Let's do it. I want to start a park. I would give this one. I'm gonna lock it in at a. I'm gonna give it a 5 actually, and that's pretty low.
Yeah,
It was an anxiety producing movie. I don't know. I couldn't get past Adam Sandler's accent. I couldn't
yeah.
understand exactly what time we were supposed to be in. I felt like the whole movie was people arguing. The ending kind of got me hyped up. I was on the edge of my seat, but I almost felt like it was like it's just a betting rush. Is it even a movie, or could I just
Hmm.
get that same
Yeah,
rush if I go
absolutely. Yeah,
bet?
yeah.
Let my dogs out the front and see which one gets across the street first. You know what I mean? I'll probably feel the same
I
way.
feel like if that last scene had been placed maybe at the
Yeah,
midpoint and then build what happens afterwards and he hadn't died, I feel like that would have been a more interesting story because you get the rush of him and maybe it's what does he do with the money. Maybe he still ends up having to pay people off. I don't know, but I feel like that climax should have been that same emotional level should have been somewhere in the beginning or the
yeah. I
middle of
think
the
there's a
film.
lot of should have beens on this one. I think maybe the main actor should have been somebody who has that natural accent. I don't know, but it is what it is.
Right.
I'm locking in the 5. That's that. So that
Yep.
is the Critic
Uncut
and the
Gems.
Common Man review of Uncut Gems. Let us know down below what you thought. As always, leave a comment. If you're still with us, hit that like button too. We really appreciate any support.